He stood over my desk with that smug, satisfied look. The night before my dream interview. My portfolio, months of code, designs, late nights, gone. Deleted with a single click. "Women can't code," my father sneered. "Stop embarrassing us." And my mother, as if rehearsed, added, "Tech is for real men, like your brother." They thought they broke me, but what they didn't know was that every line, every project, every sleepless night was already backed up. I should have been shocked, should have crumbled, cried, begged, but I didn't, because betrayal has a sound. And it wasn't the click of that delete button. It was their silence every time I tried to show them what I built. It was the way my brother's average report card got framed, while my wins were treated like accidents. I'd been preparing for this moment all my life. I stared at the blank screen they left me. I didn't panic. I smiled. Because in my world, nothing is ever really lost. I remembered the first time I told them I wanted to code. I was 13, glowing, full of hope. Dad laughed so hard he wiped tears. "Try cooking instead," he said. Mom shook her head. "You'll never compete with men." But I learned anyway, alone, night after night in the dim light of my room. While they slept, I built worlds they could never imagine. The night before the interview, I watched them gloat. My father poured a drink. My mother hummed in the kitchen. My brother smirked, certain I'd fail. They didn't notice the quiet flicker of my flash drive, tucked safely in my bag, or the encrypted cloud folder, synced every night at 2 a.m. They thought I was careless, but I was careful, too careful, because I always knew betrayal was coming. Morning came. I left the house in silence, their laughter still echoing behind me. At the interview, I pulled out my laptop, connected to the cloud, and there it was, my portfolio, untouched, perfect. The panel leaned in, impressed. They asked about algorithms, scalability, architecture. I didn't stumble, didn't hesitate. Hours later, I walked out with an offer, my dream job, my escape. But my revenge wasn't the job, it was how I used it. The first paycheck, I moved out. No warning, no note. The second, I changed my number. The third, I signed papers on a sleek apartment overlooking the skyline. My brother called from a borrowed phone. "Mom says you're being selfish. Dad says you owe them." I hung up, because here's the truth. I owed them nothing. Months passed before the confrontation. A family dinner I didn't want but agreed to. For closure, not reconciliation. They were already cracking when I walked in. Dad looked older, Mom thinner, my brother quieter. The house was dimmer than I remembered, stripped of its pride. "You've changed," Dad muttered, bitterness dripping. "No," I said. "I stopped living for your approval." My brother scoffed. "You think you're better than us now?" I leaned forward, calm, precise. "No. I think I was always better. You just couldn't stand it." That was the moment. The silence that followed was my victory. The realization dawning in their eyes that I hadn't just survived their sabotage, I'd thrived in spite of it. That every cruel word, every dismissal, every attempt to break me had only sharpened my edge. They wanted me to crawl. Instead, I climbed. I left them that night the same way I left years ago, quietly, decisively, without looking back. They say revenge is served cold, but mine was warm, precise, unfolding in real time as they watched me succeed in a world they swore I didn't belong to. Because in the end, revenge isn't about destroying them. It's about living so far above the life they tried to trap you in that they choke on their own disbelief. He deleted my portfolio, but he couldn't delete my future. And that's the part that kills them most.